Istanbul, Istanbul. Held in a tiny windowless cell, 4 political prisoners pass the time between violent interrogations by telling each other stories about their beloved city.
World Book Club from the 6th of November. And in 30 minutes, it's The Denial Files.
Victory in the battle to save the planet may depend on first winning the information war. So says Professor Michael Mann, a scientist who has spent decades fighting climate change denial and disinformation.
Next, the Cultural Frontline on the BBC World Service, the world's radio station.
On this week's Cultural Frontline, the photographer Kemp Karajuku on facing racism and finding joy in telling black British stories.
I wanted to show the life of black people, especially migrants who came in the 20th century, and how they adapted living in an environment that they weren't really too familiar with. And it really kind of plays into the name of finding common ground, where they're in the space where they're trying to, find themselves and understand each other, understand other people's culture.
Plus, sci-fi storyteller Siren J. Zhao on exploring gender, fantasy and Chinese heritage in the best-selling novel Iron Widow.
Lots of sci-fi, they riff off the Roman Empire, right? And what I've done in this world is basically riff off of pre-colonial China, because I've always felt that sci-fi is very Western-centric, and I do want to see more sci-fi told from the perspective of people of color.
That's coming up on the Cultural Frontline after the latest BBC News.
BBC News, I'm John Shea. A coup is underway in Sudan. The Information Ministry says the Prime Minister, Abdallah Hamdok, has been arrested and moved to an unknown location after he refused to support a military takeover. Most cabinet ministers in the transitional government are also said to have been detained, and there are reports that soldiers have stormed the state broadcaster. A statement attributed to Mr Hamdok urged people to take to the streets to resist the coup peacefully. The call was echoed by this protester in Khartoum.
This is an urgent call to all Sudanese civilians who want to protect their revolution. What the military is doing is a betrayal to all citizens on all fronts. It's the duty of civilians to block the roads to prevent any military force from moving.
Sudan's military and civilian at odds since they began sharing power after the overthrow of the military ruler Omar al-Bashir 2 years ago. Our correspondent Anne Soy says there's been no word so far from the military.
They haven't declared whether they have taken over control of the country. There has been no statement in the state media. They've been playing patriotic songs since 4 GMT. We understand that some of the state media leaders have been arrested, and tensions have been building up for weeks now. There was an attempted coup last month which was thwarted. It was attributed to supporters of former President Omar al-Bashir, and then after that we saw pro-military protesters coming to stage a sit-in outside the presidential palace, actually asking the military leaders to take over power from the civilian leaders, saying that the civilian leaders had failed.
The World Food Programme says Afghanistan is fast becoming the world's largest humanitarian crisis. The UN agency estimates that by next month, more than 60% of the population won't have enough food. Yogita Lemerye reports.
Even before the Taliban took over in August, Afghanistan was barely surviving due to decades of war and severe drought. But with international funds which propped up the economy now frozen, the situation is rapidly deteriorating. Prices of food and fuel have doubled. People have sold everything they could to get by, and the BBC has been told by some families that they've had to sell a baby to feed their other children. World leaders don't want to give money to the Taliban government without guarantees on human rights and how the funds will be used.
A German Muslim convert who joined the Islamic State group in Iraq has been jailed for 10 years over the killing of a Yazidi child. She and her husband bought the girl as a slave. A court in Munich found that Jennifer Venish had allowed her husband to chain the 5-year-old child, leaving her to die in the blazing sun in the Iraqi city of Mosul. Her husband, an Iraqi jihadist, is on trial separately in Frankfurt. This is the latest world news from the BBC. United Nations scientists say global emissions of greenhouse gases reached another record last year, despite a brief fall because of the economic slowdown caused by the pandemic. They say the upward trend has continued this year. The report by the World Meteorological Organization has been published ahead of the climate summit in Britain beginning next week. The Chinese authorities have begun restricting entry to Beijing as officials try to control a coronavirus outbreak in the north of the country. People arriving from districts with even one COVID case won't be able to access the capital. From Beijing, here's Stephen McDonnell.
Following a new outbreak of the Delta variant, some people are now being blocked from entering Beijing at all. If there's been even one infection in the city district from where a person is travelling, their access to the Chinese capital is prohibited. Those in wider areas with cases nearby can still come to the city if they can show a negative COVID test. The Beijing Marathon, which was expecting 30,000 runners, has been suspended indefinitely. In a little over 3 months, the Winter Olympics will be held here, and officials are maintaining a COVID elimination strategy, hoping to have local spectators at the Games.
Amnesty International says it's closing its offices in Hong Kong because of the national security law, which imposes heavy punishments for acts deemed to be subversive. The head of Amnesty's board said it was impossible to work freely without fear of serious reprisals from the government. The human rights charity has been operating in Hong Kong for 40 years. The German Conservative leader Armin Laschet has quit as head of the country's most populous state, 4 weeks after leading the Christian Democrats to their worst general election defeat. Mr. Laschet steps down from the post of state premier of North Rhine-Westphalia. He is also expected to give up the leadership of the CDU, which lost power after 16 years in government. BBC News.
Hello, I'm Megha Mohan, and this is the programme that explores the world we live in through the work and the voices of artists. Welcome to the Cultural Frontline. Today we're asking a simple question. How does an artist's identity shape their work and how the public sees it?
Can we look you and your peers across the world in the eye and say that we are doing enough? Right now, the simple answer to that question is no, we're not. So a fundamental test of success for COP26 is that it starts to turn that no into yes. So my pledge today is that the Scottish Government will do everything and anything we can to ensure that COP26 is a success. We won't be at the negotiating table directly. We're not an independent state, not yet, but as host country, we do have a big role to play. And we also carry a big and very serious responsibility. I've made clear to both the UN and the UK government that we stand ready and willing to do anything and everything we can to support the negotiations. The UK's presidency of COP26 is a massive opportunity, but also a serious responsibility. I know that the Prime Minister and the UK government are determined to step up in the days ahead and show real commitment and leadership. And the Scottish Government will do everything we can to help. After all, this summit will shape the future of the world we live in, so absolutely nothing, certainly not party politics, should stand in the way of us working together towards a successful outcome. One of Scotland's objectives during the summit itself is to be a bridge builder, to connect those whose voices are too rarely heard with those making the decisions. I quoted Antonio Guterres, the UN Secretary-General, earlier. In the same speech that I quoted, he talked about the need to bridge the climate divide. And so part of our role at this COP will be to provide the spaces and forums and support the initiatives that will allow these bridges to be built. Firstly, between the developed and developing worlds. We have supported the Glasgow Climate Dialogues, which facilitate discussion between the Global South and the developed world, and also the Global Citizens Assembly to give people from around the world the opportunity to be heard on climate action. Second, between young people and the leaders whose decisions will shape your future. The Scottish Government has funded the Conference of Youth, which starts on Thursday. That will be the first major in-person event of COP26. More than 400 young people from more than 120 countries will gather to draw up their demands of world leaders. I will speak at the opening event, but more importantly, I will listen. I've also made a commitment to meet regularly throughout COP with Vanessa Nakati from Uganda. Vanessa is the founder of Youth for the Future Africa and the Africa-based Rise Up movement. Hearing her perspective at key stages over the 2 weeks will, I think, be an important reality check. And thirdly, we will be seeking to build a bridge between the UN member states in the negotiating room and the governments of cities, regions and devolved nations like ours. Scotland is currently the European co-chair of what's called the Under 2 Coalition. That is a powerful alliance of city, regional and devolved governments from around the world. Collectively, we represent almost 2 billion people, and around half of the reduction in emissions necessary to meet the challenge of 1.5 degrees will depend on decisions taken by governments like ours. So we carry a great deal of responsibility, but also a great deal of influence. We intend to use that to the full during COP. Today, a new Just Transition Alliance is being established within the coalition to ensure that all member governments can access the resources, support and information necessary to deliver just transitions. And last week, the coalition agreed a new memorandum of understanding. It commits us collectively to reach net zero by 2050 at the latest, and to do so individually as fast as possible. Scotland, of course, is legally committed to doing so by 2045. Along with my fellow co-chairs from California, Korea, Mexico and South Africa, I'll be working during and after COP to increase support for those commitments. The focus at COP will inevitably be on the negotiations between the big countries, but governments at all levels have a responsibility, and Scotland is determined to play our full part. Of course, our ability to do that depends on our own climate credibility. Scotland cannot urge other countries to set and meet ambitious targets if we fail to do that ourselves. We must lead not by the strength of our rhetoric, but by the power of our example. And so that's the final issue I want to focus on today. In most comparisons of international climate targets, Scotland does rank very well indeed. The UK Committee on Climate Change confirmed just last year that we have decarbonised more quickly than any G20 nation. We've already halved our emissions since 1990. We're committed to a 75% reduction by 2030, which means halving them again over the course of this decade. And, of course, we aim to reach net zero and therefore completely end Scotland's contribution to climate change by 2045 at the latest. Our targets are not just amongst the most ambitious anywhere in the world, they are also amongst the toughest. For instance, we're one of very few countries to have legally binding annual targets for every year of our journey to net zero. We're also one of only a few to include shipping and aviation in the calculation of our emissions. And we have pledged to meet our targets through domestic effort, not by reliance on international credit trading. So we here have much to be proud of, but still we need to do much better. It's not enough to set tough targets, we must meet those targets. And despite all of our progress, we have fallen short on our last 3 annual milestones. 2 years ago, our emissions were 51.5% lower than in 1990. But to meet that year's annual target, they needed to be 55% lower. The law in Scotland stipulates that if we miss any annual targets, we must outperform in future years to make up for it. So this week we will publish a catch-up plan. It will highlight some of the actions already announced this year and also set out a range of additional measures, for example, to decarbonise public sector buildings, promote home upgrades and make bus travel cleaner and more accessible. Many of these measures were committed to in the cooperation agreement between the Scottish Government and the Scottish Green Party, an agreement which explicitly and rightly places climate policy at the heart of everything we do. And over the next 3 weeks, we will highlight other aspects of the work the Scottish Government is doing to put the climate front and centre. That will include planning policy, agriculture, nature restoration, wave and tidal power and green hydrogen. On all of these, we are stepping up our ambition and our action. For example, there is a licensing round underway right now for up to 10 gigawatts of offshore wind power. And later this week, we will set out plans to further increase our onshore wind capacity. We will also talk, as we need to do, about the future of our oil and gas industry. And I want to address that issue now, since it's one, rightly, that the Scottish Government is often challenged on. Before I do so, though, I want to reflect briefly on the UK Government's decision last week not to give priority support to an important part of Scotland's planned journey to net zero. The Scottish Government supports the Scottish Cluster of Proposed Projects for Carbon Capture and Storage, or CCS. The cluster includes the Acorn project in Aberdeenshire, which recently bid for support and funding. Despite the fact that Acorn was considered the most advanced of the projects bidding to be taken forward, it was passed over. I find that decision inexplicable on any objective grounds. Acorn is the lowest cost and most deliverable planned CCS project anywhere in the UK. And the Scottish Cluster would support approximately 15,000 jobs over the next 3 decades or so, many of them in the North East and around Grangemouth, which of course are currently highly dependent on high carbon industries. It could also have stored up to 5 to 6 million tonnes of carbon dioxide a year by 2030, approximately 10% of Scotland's current emissions, and up to 20 million tonnes by around 2040. Now, I know, and it's important to recognise this, that there is a fear, and I understand that fear, that carbon capture and storage will simply be used to justify the unsustainable extraction of more and more fossil fuels, and that must not be the case. But it is a vital part of meeting our climate targets. That's why the Scottish Government made clear that we would support the project, and why, in my view, last week's decision must be revisited. The fact is, CCS can help reduce emissions and capture carbon where we have no alternatives, but it must not mean that fossil fuel extraction in Scotland can continue without limit. Because, and this is the fundamental point, there must be a transition away from dependence on oil and gas. The question all countries face is how fast that will be. And for countries like Scotland, with a significant and long-established oil and gas industry, this is undoubtedly one of the most difficult issues we face as we tackle the climate emergency. Tens of thousands of jobs are dependent currently on oil and gas production. Those jobs and the people in them matter. And of course, much of our energy use is still catered for by oil and gas. So for countries like ours, with significant remaining reserves of oil and gas, it is tempting to tell ourselves that for both economic and energy reasons, we must keep exploring for and extracting oil and gas until the last possible moment. That, in my view, would be fundamentally wrong. That approach would lead only to a vicious cycle of inaction and missed opportunity. The more we tell ourselves that we will always have oil and gas as a safety net, the less motivated we will be to speed up the development of alternatives, to train people for new jobs in emerging technologies, and to deliver the just transition we and the world needs. It's an approach that cannot be justified in the face of the climate emergency, but it cannot be justified economically either. In Scotland, we already have a highly advanced renewable energy industry. Nearly 100% of our net electricity demand already comes from renewable sources. Put simply, we are one of the countries with the greatest capacity to make the transition away from fossil fuels and to reap the economic benefits of doing so. So it is vital that we accelerate the development of alternative sources of energy. We must do so, of course, to reduce reliance on an unsustainable source of energy, but also to seize the economic opportunities that the transition offers us. This need to face up to the climate emergency and speed up the transition is why, for example, we believe that the proposed Campbell development must be reassessed. The International Energy Agency is even blunter. In its assessment, there should be no new oil and gas fields approved anywhere. Not everyone will agree with that, of course, but the necessity of accelerating the transition away from fossil fuels could not be clearer. As part of that, we must accept, as our cooperation agreement already does, that the continued unlimited recovery of hydrocarbons is not consistent with meeting the aims of the Paris Agreement. And nor, in my view, is it consistent with maximising the economic benefits of the transition to renewable and low-carbon sources of energy. To support our transition domestically, the Scottish Government will publish a new energy strategy next year. The principle underpinning it will be the one already encapsulated in the cooperation agreement. The unlimited extraction of fossil fuels or maximum economic recovery in UK policy terms is not consistent with our climate obligations. Instead, our focus will be on achieving the fastest possible just transition for the oil and gas sector, one that delivers jobs and economic benefit, ensures our energy security and meets our climate obligations. Arguably, there is no country in the world better placed than Scotland to maximise the benefit of that transition. To inform the strategy, we will carry out an analysis of Scotland's energy requirements as we move to net zero. This will help us determine how the sector can help deliver our contribution to the Paris targets and how meeting our own energy needs can help build a new low-emission energy industry. And absolutely central to our work will be protecting and supporting those who currently work in oil and gas. As part of the new strategy, we are developing a just transition plan for the energy sector, with a particular focus on the northeast of Scotland and already backed by £500 million. In many areas, offshore wind, green hydrogen are good examples of this. The skills that oil and gas workers currently have are hugely valuable and eminently transferable. In fact, many leading employers in the oil and gas industry are already investing in some of the opportunities the transition will bring. So we will help workers take advantage of these opportunities, which is a fundamental part of ensuring that Scotland's transition to net zero is a fair one. In a building like this one, with so much astonishing research being carried out, it is clear how many opportunities for both economic and environmental progress the transition to net zero can bring. But we must recognise that these opportunities won't always be so obvious to those whose current jobs feel threatened, which is why in Scotland our just transition will put fairness for workers and communities front and centre. And that focus on justice and fairness will be central to Scotland's whole approach to COP26. We will seek to set a strong example in our domestic actions, even where the decisions around that are difficult, as the decisions on oil and gas undoubtedly are. We will do everything we can to support an outcome that will keep alive the imperative of limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees and which also recognises the vital importance of climate justice. We'll use our position as the host country to create spaces and dialogues which encourage empathy, promote understanding and help people share perspectives. We will encourage national governments to match the ambition of cities, regions and state governments. We will help those around the negotiating table listen to activists in the developed world and from the global south, and we will work to ensure that leaders of my generation understand that failure to act now would be a betrayal of young people right around the world. If Scotland can successfully play that role in bridging these gaps in understanding and experience, we will, I think, massively increase the chances of COP26 being the success that we need it to be. And we will ensure that the urgency used in tackling the COVID crisis is finally brought to bear in tackling the climate crisis. There is a lot at stake in our city over the next 3 weeks. There is no doubt about that. This may well be the world's best, but also possibly its last opportunity to avert climate catastrophe. But if that opportunity is taken, the benefits will be plentiful. So this is a moment for hope, but above all, a moment for delivery, for turning promises into actions. And for Glasgow, this great city that helped lead the world into the industrial age, it is an opportunity in this new era to help power the planet towards net zero. The Scottish Government, as I hope I have indicated today, will do all and everything we can to help bring that about, because there is no doubt whatsoever that the future of our planet demands it. Thank you very much indeed.
Well, the First Minister of Scotland there laying out her goals for the COP26 summit, which will start in a week's time in Glasgow, her hometown, and of course in Scotland, although she said herself she doesn't have a seat at the table at that COP meeting because it is a UK level meeting with Boris Johnson effectively representing Scotland and the rest of the UK. Just the main points there. She said that there must be increased commitments on payments to the third world to combat climate change. She appealed to her young audience, saying that there was an intergenerational unfairness and that her generation were responsible for the pollution which is now affecting their generation, and that needed to be addressed. Probably the most significant announcement related to the Cambo oil field, the new oil field in Scottish waters. She made it clear that she is not in favour of opening that up, saying it needed to be reviewed and it was inappropriate. Of course, worth bearing in mind that the Scottish National Party are now in coalition in the Holyrood government with the Green Party. Well, we'll have lots more coming up on 2 hours today of All Out Politics here on Sky News.
I'm Neville Lazarus and I'm Sky's reporter based in Delhi. We take you to the heart of the story that shapes our world.
This monastery is under the protection, for now, of Russian peacekeepers. I'm Dinah Magnay and I'm Sky's Russia correspondent, based here in Moscow. I witnessed the despair of the Armenians in Nagorno-Karabakh. It's Armenians who've abandoned these villages now. Quite what their strategy is, I'm not sure, but they have made some arrests already today.
They can't arrest everybody.
We take you to the heart of the stories that shape our world. This clearly says, I love Hitler. Russia insists that its military build-up in the Arctic is purely defensive.
This is All Out Politics on Sky News, with you for 2 hours this week between 10 and 12. Of course, the budget coming up on Wednesday. And now let's have a look at The View, looking at the latest opinion and talking points in today's newspapers and news websites. The Daily Telegraph's cartoon features the Chancellor Rishi Sunak, painter and decorator, attempting to paper over the cracks with cash. He is, however, hindered by his foot being stuck in a bucket. And the Telegraph's regular columnist, Nick Timothy, a former advisor to Prime Minister Theresa May, sets out the challenge for the Chancellor, who is detailing his budget plans here on Wednesday. He says that Rishi Sunak is facing great economic turbulence with a massive overhang from the pandemic, but the nation has to hear a proper financial plan to move on and past the last 18 months. No escape for Rishi Sunak in the Times either. A host of white rabbits surround his desk, one perched in his budget briefcase. The Chancellor is looking a little bit green around the gills as he shouts, "Can somebody close the door to number 10? James Kirkup writes about the approach to dealing with domestic violence in the Times. He's the director of the Social Market Foundation, and he says that a new amendment adding domestic violence to the Police Crime and Sentencing Courts Bill is necessary. Once again, the Chancellor features in the Guardian cartoon, this time raising 2 red boxes aloft, one stuffed with cash for his budget promises, the other in the hope of winning the voters over. But can you balance the boxes? Emma Brokes, writing in the Guardian, discusses the upcoming Halloween celebrations in New York. She describes the upside of many parties being cancelled last year, but due to COVID. But now Halloween parties are firmly back on the agenda. And with that, costumes galore and an absence of face masks. The Daily Mail lays into social media giants ahead of the Facebook whistleblower's testimony to MPs this afternoon. The paper says that the children's welfare must be put before profit. And The Sun is going green. It talks to its readers about congratulates them on their dedication to saving the planet and addresses climate change. The paper adds that COP26 is a real chance to seize the moment and bring about a green revolution. Well, joining me today to look through all those are the Press Association's political correspondent, Jerry Scott, and the economist and former Labour Party advisor, James Meadway. Welcome to you both. And Jerry, we've already had a lot of budget news over the weekend, various announcements being made and more today.
Absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse. Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Prampram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Prampram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp.co.uk. worldlamp@gmail.com. World Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hello, good people. I'm back again, and this time it's about Mama's Choice Fufu Mix. It comes in 2 flavors and it contains essential minerals and vitamins. It's gluten free. You can grab one from the nearest Afro-Caribbean shop or the corner shop next to you. Insist it's Mama's Choice. It's certified by both the US and the UK Food Standard Boards. Grab one for yourself today. Mama's Choice. We beg you, sir, Charlie.
Listen to Reverend David Peterson.
And you have to listen. Your spouse can leave you. Your friends can leave you. Your family can leave you. Your next door neighbor will talk about you. But God will never leave you.
This and every Wednesday from 7:30 p.m. on the Led by the Spirit program on Starr Radio UK.
Hi there, this is CJ Buckman, your life coach. And whenever I'm in London, I listen to Starr Radio UK right here. But guess what? You can listen to wherever you are.
Online, on mobile, and soon on DAB. This is Starr Radio UK, the leading Afro-Caribbean radio station in London.
Body is your man. Bekutu, show them you got the cocoa set. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Harry Song, aka Mr. Songs. This is the Kingmaker Baba for the girls. We're here. This is Starr Radio. We don't go nowhere. UK, London. We they call them London for home. For here, we they call them London. And I sabi you know, just have fun and stay blessed.
While the others keep on talking, we keep on rocking. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning, wherever you tune in and logged in from. Thank you very much for once again being part of this program. Time check from our studios exactly 40 minutes past the hour of 10. And I hope for those of you who joined in early, you enjoyed the extensive interview and press briefing from Scotland Live. My name is Frank Davis and I'll be sitting for Archie today. By way of program outline, we start with the quote of the day through the transport and the weather updates with reference to the UK specifically. At exactly 11 o'clock, we'll be joined by Olayomi who will give us updates from Nigeria. At exactly 12:30, we'll be joined by Her Royal Majesty herself, Her Royal Highness Linda Pallien on the way from Cyprus with the Carrier 101. That's a way of welcoming you. I'd like to say good morning. Actually, wherever you are, say good morning to you. Like me, good morning to you. Kojodi will be joining us. Say good morning to you.
Don't regret it at all.
Good morning to Francis.
The world about myself.
All the way from Enugu State. Alhaji Bashar, so good morning to you. For the entire team that has arrived in Ghana.
As the days goes by, we get
for IDO International Conference, Paul and team Linda all the way from Uganda. I say good morning to you, Lynn. Nelly all the way in Guinea Conakry. We say good morning to you. What is happening in Sudan? What is happening in Sudan? A coup attempt. Civilians are angry at the military. Guinea Conakry, we saw a coup and the civilians were happy. Elsewhere in Senegal or Sudan, you don't regret it at all. Alright, let's go straight to the quote of the day. Kofi Allah say good morning to you. Male, good morning to you. David, good morning to you. Kwame, good morning to you. My brother Felix all the way in Scotland. Abedin says good morning to you. Mr. Francis Guy, who will be joining us, good morning to you. Apostle Bliss, good morning to you. Caroline, how are you doing? And Auntie Mary, special good morning to you as well. Oh, sweet salvation. Oh,
Radio UK.
All right, this is our code. Say take care of what's within your control by giving your children a strong foundation and instilling in them a clear sense of right and wrong. Let's say that again. Say take care of what is within your control by giving your children a strong foundation and instilling in them a clear sense of right and wrong. We're talking about moral lessons here. We're talking about children being impacted. We're talking about parents leading a life of exemplary lives so that their children can copy from them. That is our quote for the day, October the 25th. And time check is exactly 45 minutes per hour of 10 in the UK.
Can tell every nation that you don't regret it at all. You don't regret it, that you don't regret it at all. You don't regret it,
You don't regret it. All right, let's proceed. I love this tune. I'm a reggae man, you know.
Can see the joy bubbling over.
Mr. Dave West, is a good morning to you.
Since you met the Lord, I can see that love.
And for those of us in London, look, the £12.50 charge starts today. Yesterday I had to wake up around. In fact, I tried sleeping early, and when it was where I live, the car I'm driving now. In fact, thank God my car. One of my cars was stolen, and where I live now, the car I drive, I cannot enter because the engine is huge. Right. So 12 o'clock, it was going to be £12.50 to be paid. So 11:45, I said no way, I am not going to pay this money. Jump into the car and then move the car somewhere, which means the car I drive now for its life it's not going to be able to see my house again. It's done. I can't enter there again without paying. So that is what has come. And that's what we're facing. People are angry, but what can we do? The big brothers have taken decision, and we the young ones who just strolling and going by, we just have to obey. What can we do? We take decisions directly. We elected mayor.
Sweet salvation. Oh, what great devotion. You can tell it.
All right, let's go straight to our travel updates.
That you don't regret it.
On our travel update, London Overground is part suspended and has some minor delays as well. Metropolitan has severe delays and also some parts has minor delays as well. And on Waterloo and City, there is a planned closure. All the other lines from Bakerloo Central, City, Jubilee, Northern, Piccadilly, Victoria, TFL, Rail, Tram, all of them are in good service. So those of you who enjoy a train and a tram place, you are good to go. On the buses, we do not have any major updates, no major incidents, but I can tell you, reporting live from London, to tell you that, look, at Liverpool Street, they protested that Insulate Britain protested have blocked that route. They are being cleared, but expect a major delay. Sadok also, that is also blocked. Limehouse, again, we have them blocking that place. So listeners, or viewers, if you listen to us and you're going to go through central London, what they call Sadok area, and you're going to go to Limehouse area, expect unnecessary and delays. So better take note. And these people, we don't know how long they're going to be there. Woolwich Ferry, there's a reduced service. All the other services, RB1, RB2, R2, RB6, and Thames River service are they are in good services. Emirates Cable Airline, for those who enjoy it, good. Let's check the National Rail. Apart from the cross country and west and southwestern railway, all the other lines we can report are running very, very good. So with that, it brings us to the end of our travel updates. And let me check on the routes. On the route, like already reported, in London, all areas within the south and the north circular from this morning are actually impacted with the new ULEZ charge. So if you're going to drive there, you're looking to be paying £12.50. You're looking to be paying A20. There's a bit of closure. A4, there's a bit of closure. And South Circular also, there's a little bit of closure over the A13. Serious delays. That's heading to Blackwall Tunnel. Delays. A12 again delays. North Circular, serious delays. A lot of cars will be trying to avoid entering the ULEZ zone. The Blackwall Tunnel. Once you get out of it, even the Blackwall Tunnel is impacted. So that's also within the ULEZ zone, the Roda High Tunnel. So you're gonna go through the ferry. That's the only way you're going to escape it. The ferry. That's the only way you're going to escape it. And we are being told that there are serious delays on that route as well. That brings us to the end of our travel updates. Let's go straight to our weather updates. After which we take a quick music break. Come back from our updates, and then we'll go straight to Nigeria. On the weather front this morning, this afternoon, we're going to be having western areas will have showers. This particular frequent to the north west, but with sunny spells in between. To the east, it will be drier with sunshine and just some odd shower. Tonight, it will turn largely dry and clear for many. Although showers will persist to the northwest. However, a band of cloud and rain will arrive in northern Ireland and western Scotland later today. So basically, that brings us to the end of our weather. To wrap it up, temperatures expect below the 20s. Crediting where we are coming to you live from now is currently at 15 outside. We expect it by night. It should get a bit colder to around 10 to 7. So that is what we're expecting today. As a way of weather updates. Let's look at headlines making the news. We've told you already about what is happening in Sudan. Civilians leaders arrested amid reports of a coup. That is what is happening in Congo. That's what is happening in Sudan. Nigeria 1 year anniversary of EndSARS protest movement. We'll look into that. We'll be looking. Senegalese women wage war against climate injustice. We're going to be going into that. They protested in Dakar against that. Mozambian writer, we're going to that. There's some great news as is coming over there. Again, violence against women. An athlete, a slain Kenyan athlete, Agnes Tirop, laid to rest. We'll go into that. We understand the husband actually murdered her. We'll look into that, and this has to do with violence against women, domestic violence, domestic abuse, to a point where renowned athletes had just been killed by the husband. We'll look into that story a little bit. UN delegation arrived in Mali to mount pressure on junta. They say they want transition. UN, where were you when the people needed you? We will find out about that. Where were you when the people needed you? Why are you now? Uganda explosion, an act of domestic terror, say the police. One lady, a bar attendant, was killed, others injured when where terrorists actually went to a bar, bought food, ate, and actually left an improvised device at the neighborhood, at the bar. It went off, and a few people died. So we'll come into those stories to look at them detail. Let's say what again is happening. Minister consider view widening use of COVID passes in Wales. We're going to look into that again. You heard about what is coming on COPs 2021, so to say, the conference that is coming up in Scotland about what we termed an action. People view it as the last minute and the final time or a final opportunity to take concrete action on climate change. We're going to be looking more into that. Javid expects a normal Christmas despite COVID pressure. So the government is resisting attempts to rule in control measures. In China, there has been a lockdown in certain suburbs as 13 cases of Delta variant has been reported. Did you know that in Hong Kong, you have to isolate once you arrived? You have to be in your hotel for 3 good weeks, 21 good days before you are allowed into the community. So if you travel to Hong Kong today, you will be camped in a hotel paid for by you for 21 days. 21 days before you are actually allowed. 100 refuse entry as Scotland vaccine passport enforced. So Scotland has enforced vaccine passports. We'll be looking more into those stories. We'll be looking. Sudan civilian leaders arrested again. Protest. Afghan facing desperate food crisis. UN has said. The German IS woman jailed for Yasser girl's death. We will look into that. Amnesty International to close Hong Kong office. The environmental disaster we have not fixed. Again, we look at that. Listeners and viewers, thank you very much again. My name is Frank Davis. 3 minutes to the hour of 11 o'clock. We'll be heading towards Nigeria, but for now, let's take this music break and we'll be right back.
You can tell every nation that you don't regret it at all. I can tell the world about my Savior, for He's my best friend. As the days goes by, we get much closer. For He's the greatest. What sweet salvation. What great devotion. You can tell it. You can tell every nation that you don't regret it at all. Why not let King Jesus in your life now? For He's never failed. He can guarantee you satisfaction. And that you can't deny. You don't regret it, don't regret it.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it, you're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse. Hi there! Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Prampram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Prampram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hello, good people. I'm back again, and this time it's about Mama's Choice Fufu Mix. It comes in 2 flavors and it contains essential minerals and vitamins. It's gluten free. You can grab one from the nearest Afro-Caribbean shop or the corner shop next to you. Insist it's Mama's Choice. It's certified by both the US and the UK Food Standard Boards. Grab one for yourself today. Mama's Choice. Ubedisa Charlie.
Listen to Reverend David Peterson.
And you have to listen. Your spouse can leave you. Your friends can leave you. Your family can leave you. Your next door neighbor will talk about you. But God will never leave you.
This and every Wednesday from 7:30 p.m. on the Led by the Spirit program on Starr Radio UK.
Right, welcome back to Starr Radio Morning Show with me, Frank Davis, sitting in for Archie this morning. Time check from our studio is exactly 6 minutes per the hour of 11 in the UK. Unfortunately, Olayomi is on assignment. We're going to try and see if we can get hold of him. He's on assignment. He might join us a bit later, but at 11 o'clock now, he's out of reach where he is covering some news item which we deem very, very important this morning, and therefore we'll give him some time to see if he'll be able to finish the assignment early. Nigeria embassy is not an easy place to go to find information, so basically he's covering a news item, and we should be linking up with him pretty shortly, but for now we will proceed with news item making headlines in the UK. Let's start with what is impacting all of us and determine the direction of the global economy, which is the COVID. In the UK, we are told that the NHS in England, the National Health Service, is to receive an extra 5.9, that is approximately 6 billion this week, as a budget statement gets made on the 6th on Wednesday. So Wednesday, which will be the 27th, Richard Sunak, the finance minister, will deliver his budget statements, and they've announced that 6 billion pounds will be heading as an extra funding, will be heading toward the NHS, and it's aimed at actually helping reduce the waiting time, and also hire more staff, improve services, an all-round overhaul of certain areas that are not functioning. That is why we are being told. That's why we are being told. That could only be good news for those who are benefiting directly from it, and those who live and reside in England. Another story that is coming linked to NHS is about health workers, carers who go up and down looking after patients. Most of them says they cannot afford to retool or to change their cars, and therefore the ULS is going to impart on them. The contract workers are demanding that their daily charges be paid. Their daily charges be paid to them. Their daily charges be paid to them if they want to go and work. Yeah, and this is where the problem is, because we're already short of staff. We need more people. Those who have someone saying, look, you're charging us, we couldn't afford to go and buy cars, and we don't have enough money to buy cars, and if you're not going to extend the scrappage scheme to cover us, then we are in trouble and we don't know what to do. So that is also coming from the angle of NHS. We'll come to sports later. People are calling for the head of Manchester United manager. For those of you who love sport, we'll be looking at that. Wow, what a race it was yesterday between Hamilton and his closest rival. I mean, it was, for those of you who might have watched it, I enjoyed what the tension was too much. I wanted my man to win, but unfortunately we couldn't win the race. But again, it was okay. It was okay. Now let's look at other news that are making headlines in the UK. Health service again. Hospitality groups complains about Scotland vaccine passport. The first weekend of enforcement of Scotland vaccine passport scheme was unmitigated disaster. A body representing nighttime venue says the Scottish Hospitality Group, which opposes the scheme, says venue staff refuse entry to revelers without vaccine passport more than 550 times. It adds that Some staff were abused, leading to venues closing early. The Scottish government insists the scheme is a proportionate health measure, as it will encourage more people to go get vaccinated and help nighttime venues stay open during a potentially very difficult winter. The vaccine certificate scheme was introduced on 1st of October, but there was no enforcement during the 17 days grace period. A venue adjusted to the new rules under the scheme. People who have had 2 vaccines in Scotland can download or get a paper copy of a certificate of QR code. So basically, look, like all other things, you need a passport to move from one location to another. That's what we are being told now. New restriction in Romania as cases soar. Again, we'll be looking at protest schools from anti-vax protests. That's what the Labour leader Kestema is saying. The council should be able to stop anti-vaccination protesters from demonstrating outside schools by using exclusion orders. Labour leader Sir Starmer says, he says, signaling that protesters are spreading dangerous misinformation to children. He is urging the government to urgently update the law to exclusion zones. Exclusion zones can be rapidly set up around school gates. We are being told that now protest. That's what is anti-vax. You know, people do not want their children to be vaccinated, and the government, in trying to push this, said people can make their own decisions. 12 to 15 years old can make decisions to take vaccines. Parents are concerned, and when they go to school, it's not only that they're being allowed to make independent decisions. No, evidence is suggesting that teachers are actively persuading, pupils to take the vaccine. Now the question here is, what role do parents have to play in their children's lives? As a matter of fact, if your kid is less than a certain age and you leave them, 12, 13, 14, you still got a responsibility, full responsibility for them. They are prepared everything, even up to the age of 18. But from 14, the law becomes a little bit of less, punitive on you. But here we have been told that parents would not have to overrule the decision of their kids if they do want to take the vaccine. I find that a little bit of disturbance, as well as troubling, a little bit of troubling. But that's what we are being told. And Kestema is suggesting that, look, instead of allowing the protester to go protesting and giving basically what he described as misinformation to the pupils and students, we should have an exclusive zone that will prevent protesters from getting close to these children. Do scientists agree that the UK will have a normal Christmas? That's a question being asked. A little while ago, we heard the Health Secretary Javid predict that the UK will have normal Christmas, and let's see what the scientists are saying. Over the weekend, Professor Openshaw, a scientist advising the government, who sits on the new and emerging respiratory virus threat advisory group, told news that very fearful there will be another lockdown Christmas if we don't act soon. So what is that soon? The booster jabs? Is that what is it? Forcing NHS staff to get COVID jabs mistake. That is what Kestama is again saying. At one breath he's saying, hey, don't allow protesters. But he's also saying that you cannot force staff to have basically COVID vaccine. Let's say one say that forcing NHS staff to get vaccinated against COVID is a mistake. After Health Secretary suggested earlier he would be in favor of such a move, which means that if you are a worker within the KNAS, so you are a worker within the NHS, if you do not have the vaccine or have a proof that you have been vaccinated, you will not be able to work. He says he wants NHS staff to be vaccinated, but that it is better to encourage and cajole them than force them to get their COVID jabs. He wants the problems I fear we are going to get in. You are going to have thousands of NHS who can't work any longer just when you have got massive vaccination. Well, I think I get what he's saying. If you force them, a lot of them, like we understand, some are already leaving and they decide to leave, how do you make up for that shortfall in labor? Already we are stretched as a public service provider. We know that sector is stretched and need more workers. Now let's continue. Let's stay on the COVID issue again, because I think it's the major issue in the, affecting all of us today. Infections level in the UK unacceptable. Scientists have warned. Are we going to see another lockdown? Are we going to see another lockdown? Now let's say what? Reintroducing measures such as mandatory face covering in indoor spaces and working from home could lead to a significant reduction in the unacceptable number of COVID-19 cases in the UK, a leading scientist said. Professor Openshaw, a member of the group, which actually does, we call it NAFDAC, which actually now advises on respiratory virus threat advisory group, says that the level of infection in England, 1 for every 55 people, according to the Office for National Statistics, is an astonishing high rate compared with the other Western countries. So that is what he's saying, that look, if we do not act now, we're going to have a problem. Now, what is Labour Shadow Health Secretary saying? He says Jonathan Ashworth has been speaking to News and Today program and insists the government needs to bring in extra protections of compulsory face masks. So basically they are in favor of compulsory face masks. I don't see anything wrong with face mask wearing anyway. He adds, we could be looking at infection rates of between 30 to 50,000 a day over coming weeks and months. That is a high level of sickness in society, which will put pressure on NHS. That's why we are going to entry Beijing restricted. I told you earlier on, entry to Chinese capital Beijing has been restricted as officials try to rein in a new outbreak of COVID-19 across the north of the country. If there has been even one infection in the city district from where a person is traveling, their access to Beijing is prohibited. Those in wider areas with cases hereby can still come to the city if they can show a negative test proof. A Beijing marathon has been suspended indefinitely accordingly. That's what we have been told. I mean, I don't know how well, let me put it this way. We know sovereign states take different measures towards this, towards prevention and probably how to get rid of this virus from their society. I want to find out what is the role of the World Health Organization in trying to set direction for all of us. The rates that we are seeing in the UK, is the UK doing something that is not right? Because like I told you before, when you travel to Hong Kong today, you need to quarantine. You need to be in isolation for 21 days. For 21 good days in an isolated hotel. The staff will even not bring you food. They leave food at your door and you have to go for it. That is how strict Hong Kong is. As we speak now, Hong Kong 0 cases. And we are being told, according to the health official from Hong Kong, the Delta variant is able to stay in your system without showing signs for 21 good days before you begin to suffer the effect. In the UK, we know the cases are rising, unprecedented levels of cases. Is it because probably and plausibly that our quarantine regime, isolated regime, is not good enough? But someone asks, well, but that's what the vaccines are meant to solve. The problem that whether there's virus or no virus, we can go on with our life smoothly. Are vaccine delivering? That's a question some of us will begin to ask. Are the vaccines delivering as expected? Yes, according to some people. Yes, others are saying no. If we're going to be vaccinating and we have vaccinated and we are still being told this, then what are we being told? Now, Australia plans to roll out booster shots soon to prevent a resurgence of cases. So that's what we are being. So those of you who have taken the double doses, we are being told that, look, you know what, you need to go for the booster. If you don't, we're going to see a surge in the cases. So don't. But that again brings into mind, if we are being told that, look, after 6 months we can see that the vaccines, what it does to your body to prevent serious illnesses, the defenses it gives your body are basically gone. And here we are again being told that, look, in Scotland, for instance, that, get what, you need to produce a certificate. So let's pause for a minute and say, okay, I have vaccinated myself, or I got vaccinated in September last year. Here we are, or let's say October last year. Here we are a year on without the vaccine. After I've taken the 2 boosters, the 2 jabs, we are being told that, look, the strength is weakened. What relevant will a certificate that shows that I was vaccinated in October last year, what relevant will it be today? How is it going to help me today if I'm being told that, look, the only way you're going to stay protected is to have a booster? Because if my certificate is going to show that, look, yes, you've got vaccinated in October and therefore have access, I mean, it's inefficient. I mean, well, that is what I think. I don't know what is in your mind. I don't know what you think. You can join us later on and tell us more with your experience. Let's move on for other stories. Right. Let's look at other stories that are making the headline. So basically, the COVID issue is actually hitting everyone and everybody hard. What is it, Jeff? What is breaking news? The health secretary, what is this? The health secretary Starr has been speaking to. Okay, all right, that's what we brought to earlier on, that the health secretary is in the news and making the headline. Today has been dominated by COVID, and rightly so, because a lot of people are seriously concerned. The scientists are speaking. Scotland, we also saw the first weekend of implementation, and therefore, justifiably so, we've seen a lot of the news headline from the UK being dominated by issues related to health and COVID. Fuel prices, petrol prices hits new high, the highest level to date according to motoring group RAG. Like, I went to buy fuel on Saturday, and what I paid was almost £1.50. I said to myself, that is too high. That is too high. But hey, they will tell you that is so. The highest so far we have recorded in the UK, average 142 per litre, 146, top end 149.55, and all those thereabout. That's what we're looking at. Boy, unfortunately, Brentwood murder investigation, boys killed were 16 MP says. Let's see what they are saying. It was a sad news. I heard the news over the weekend, and it was sad. 2 boys whose deaths are at the center of a murder investigation are understood to have been 16, an MP has said. 3 people were found injured in Regency Court, Brentwood, Essex, at about 1:30 BST on Sunday, but 2 of them died. 8 men were arrested on suspicion of murder, and police remain at the scene. Brentwood MP, that the Brentwood and Ongar's Conservative MP Alex Berger said the teenagers' death had shaken the community. The BBC understood that the boys were suspected to have suffered stab wounds but police have not yet. Is it a ritual that was going on, or what exactly is going on? Stabbed to death. All right, we don't really have too many events like this in our town, so to lose two 16-year-old needlessly and senselessly has left us all very upset. That's what one resident is saying, and obviously there will be. The MP has also said, I hope people will take some solace from the fact that police have said they believe this was an isolated incident and that they will be increasing the police presence on the streets in the next few days. Or the SL. Okay, so basically 2 people stabbed to death over the weekend yesterday. May their soul rest in perfect peace. Unfortunately, the dead cannot be brought back to life for their parents. Sad situation. We mourn with them. Time check is 27 minutes past the hour of 11. I will be going straight to Nigeria pretty shortly. Again, we're still waiting to see if we can connect to Olayomi. We're still waiting to see if we can connect to Olayomi. So stay with us. Whilst we go through other news items. Let's move away from the UK onto the world stage. Where we bring you the news item. First one, let's go to Amnesty International. What is it saying? Amnesty International will shut its offices in Hong Kong over a recently imposed national security law. The human rights group said the law imposed by China makes it effectively impossible for them to operate. Amnesty has had a presence in Hong Kong for more than 40 years. The local office will close 31st, that is in a few days time, in 6 days time, and the regional office will move out by the end of the year. The broadly worded national security law in Hong Kong criminalizes secession, subversion, terrorism, and coalition with foreign forces. Well, so basically, that office, the operation in Hong Kong, is coming to a close. Let's move on to other news that are making German. Let's go to the Germany and see what is happening. A German Muslim convict who joined the Islamic State group in Iraq has been jailed for 10 years in Munich over the killing of Yazidi, a girl she and her husband had bought as a slave. Jennifer was judged to have been an accomplice to war crime, having stood by when her husband left the 5-year-old to die of thirst, chained outside in the blazing sun. The girl died in Fulaja in 2015. The lady denied the charges. Her lawyer said the child's mother, Nora, was an unreliable witness and they alleged there was no evidence the girl had actually died. Nora and the girl had been enslaved by Islamic State along with many others. The verdict on the husband is expected next month. So basically, she's fallen prey to manipulations in relationships. But you know what they should also do to avert the situation. The London-based human rights lawyer Anna Cronin was part of the legal team representing the girl's mother. So basically, they've succeeded in bringing justice to the family. Right, let's proceed with our news. Let's produce our news items. And then straight to Afghanistan. Many Afghans are now selling their possessions to buy food. The new Taliban administration has been blocked from accessing overseas assets. Its overseas asset that's managed billions of dollars of Afghan money stashed outside is blocked as nations assesses how to deal with the hardline group, meaning wages to civil servants and other workers have been withheld. It has been more than 5 months that I have received my wages. A teacher told news men, people are impoverished here. said a man in Kandahar. Yesterday, I saw a woman who was going through the rubbish bins at the local hotel collecting the leftover food. I asked her why she was doing so, and she said she didn't have any other solution. She was trying to find food for her children. Wow. That's how desperate people have become. That is very, very, very sad indeed. Very sad stories coming from different parts of the world. Very, very sad. Now let's go straight and then continue with other news items. Let's look at what is happening in China. 5 things. That's how China past shapes the leaders' thinking and views of the world. We'll touch on that story a little bit later. We're talking about how to bring up or how their leaders have been groomed to take over the mantle, how it has impacted, and how we should expect China to behave going forward. How we should expect China to behave going forward. Now, climate change, greenhouse gas concentration reached new high in 2020. That's also coming. The buildup of warming gases in the atmosphere rose to record levels in 2020 despite the pandemic, according to the World Meteorological Organization. Concentration of CO2 maintained and nitrous oxide rose by more than the annual average over the past 10 years. The organization says this will drive up temperature in excess of the goals of the Paris Agreement. They worry that our warmer world is in turn boosting emissions from natural sources. Someone asked, are they saying this because of what is going to happen and expect people to do more? Another issue is that over the past decade, emissions of CO2 have increased progressively. So even though carbon output was down last year, the increase in the level in the atmosphere was still bigger than the average between 2011 to 2020. According to World Meteorological Organization annual greenhouse gas bulletin, CO2 reached 413.2 parts per million in the atmosphere in 2020 and is now 149% of the pre-industrial level. This is bad news for containing the rise in Earth's temperature. Right, I want to be asking a few questions. Look, we've done enough. We've done a lot, and a lot is still being done to basically lower the gas, the emissions that we are actually putting out there in the atmosphere. And undoubtedly, within the last 10 years, a lot has been done. If you talk of even a lot of engines, car engines, we do have a lot of retooling that has taken place. Today, we do have unprecedented levels of electric cars that are on our route in any time. I mean, more than any time in the history of this planet Earth. Now, one will expect that actions that are being taken so far should begin to yield fruits, or we begin to see results. But if we are being told that of all these efforts that are being taken, what is being done, that is contributing to zero, I mean, basically, we're not seeing the impact, then one will ask, why are we doing it at all? Why are we doing it at all? That's a question. Someone say, well, you know what? It's better than nothing. And but those actions probably it will have been very, very, or to have gone up higher than we do have today. But my question again will be, if we've been told, for instance, you know what? We've seen a bit of impact, we've seen a bit of progress, but we think more should be done. That will be, I can swallow that. But if we have been told that, look, of all whatever is happening, more gas is being emitted or the climate is getting more warmer, are we then saying that Donald Trump's theory that nature will balance and sort itself out, something we should actually take seriously? Well, that is the news that is making the headlines on the gas and environmental issues. Let's progress with our news item exactly in the next 2-3 minutes. We'll go for a quick commercial break, and when we return, we'll look at the Caribbean. Do not forget, in an hour's time exactly, or barely an hour's time, we're going to be having Linda Pallien joining us for the Career 101, one of my favorite programs every week, and I look forward to hearing Linda every Monday at exactly 12:45 on Starr Radio UK. All right, let's progress to other news items making the headlines. In the other news, on the world stage, the other news, let's go to Asia. We've told you, I have seldom felt happiness like this. The bumpy road to India's electric car. We're talking about climate, so let's just link that up. I think that will be ideal thing to do. India sold more electric car vehicles in September than any month previously. Sales have been rising since April, the start of the financial year, and are already nearing the previous year's total. It is a glimmer of hope for industry that has been struggling with a global shortage in semiconductor chips, coming on the heels of a period of sluggish growth. But it's only a glimmer. Electric sales that they sold almost 122,000 cars. They sold almost 122,000 cars. Wow, that's a lot of cars. But it's only a glimmer, according to them. Some electric vehicle firms, especially makers of two-wheelers, are betting big, but the demand is lukewarm for cars and commercial vehicles like lorries. Prime Minister is trying to change that with a $3.5 billion scheme to boost manufacturing. So basically, the industry is being aided by the taxpayer to be able to deliver on its promise. We will look into that, and I think we also have to be contributing a little bit towards what we do. So electric car industry under the microscope, and we are told that they're doing quite well, doing very well. We might have to start looking, scientists, we might have to start looking at the hydrogen area. Hydrogen. What can hydrogen do? We know a Japanese firm has actually developed a car that uses just water. As to whether that will be attractive to people who want a bit of cars. A friend of mine told me he doesn't like electric cars because they don't make sound. He wants a vroom where you rev it. That is what to him makes a good car. So basically, how many of us are going to go for electric cars? We do not know yet. Let's take a quick commercial break, and when we return, we'll look at other news making headlines from the US. We go to Caribbean, we touch on Africa. We go an hour to do that, and hopefully we'll try 12 o'clock to see if Olayomi will be joining. If not, we'll bring you the full details of what is happening in Nigeria. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse. Hi there! Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Prampram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Prampram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hello, good people. I'm back again, and this time it's about Mama's Choice Fufu Mix. It comes in 2 flavors and it contains essential minerals and vitamins. It's gluten free. You can grab one from the nearest Afro-Caribbean shop or the corner shop next to you. Insist it's Mama's Choice. It's certified by both the US and the UK Food Standard Boards. Grab one for yourself today. Mama's Choice. We beg you, sir, Charlie.
Listen to Reverend David Peterson.
And you have to listen. Your spouse can leave you. Your friends can leave you. Your family can leave you. Your next door neighbor will talk about you. But God will never leave you.
This and every Wednesday from 7:30 p.m. on the Led by the Spirit program on Starr Radio UK.
Right, welcome back. We'll go through some news items quickly, and then we will go for a quick music break. And when we return, we'll look at Africa news making headlines in Africa. So let's run through the globe. And then we'll take our news item again. We should do that in the next 5 minutes. Kojo join us at exactly 12 o'clock. Right. Turkish currency later dropped to record low on Erdogan comments. What has he said? What has he said? Let's go into that. The Turkish currency has weakened 1.6% to a record low against the dollar in early Asian trade after their president said he had ordered the expulsion of the ambassadors of the United States and 9 other Western countries. The currency had already hit record low. So basically, the expulsion of the United States ambassador to Turkey and other 9 countries actually has led to the currency going down. Now let's continue with a bit of news from Pakistan. Pakistan finally ends its World Cup drought. They're beating India and they are in there. Let's look at what is happening in that part of the Middle East. We'll come to Sudan because there's developing stories. We told the military that developed the government will come to Israel to build 1,300 settlements units in occupied West Bank. So that again is coming. That Palestinian Prime Minister urged nations to confront Israel on the settlement policy, which is illegal under international law. So Israel is saying, hey, we're going to push ahead and build 1,300 buildings and settlements in that area. But the world is saying, no, we can't have that. That's what the Pakistan is saying. The Palestinians and say, okay, you know what? Why don't you help us, the world? Palestinian created family seek justice after death in custody. The family of Palestinian activists, it will seek international intervention if his death is ignored. What has happened? Nazi family appeared before the military court on Sunday and presented witness statements as part of the ongoing trial for the 14 security officers implicated in his death. That's what we are being told. Those 40 men are all small fish in a big pond and are being used as sacrificial lambs, said the brother of the deceased. They were obviously taking orders from much higher above, but none of these higher ranking officials have been questioned according to investigation. Okay, now so they are raising their concern that look, we need justice. Tunisia reached financial meltdown more than the loss of democracy. Tunisia faces its worst financial crisis ever. That's what we are being told. Is it COVID or what it is? Tunisia, because everything is politicized in Tunisia, people like to hemorrhage about who is responsible for, and people want to argue about who is responsible for the collapse of the country's economy rather than understand Israel causes and discuss issues. So basically, Tunisia is facing a meltdown, a kind of meltdown. Let's get straight to Libya. Libya is in Africa, but let's look at it along the lines of with Middle East. Before we come, Libya to start registration election candidate in November. More than 260 Yemen rebels killed, Saudi-led coalition says. We look straight into that a little bit. And what is happening in Sudan? Let's go to what is happening in Sudan. I know we'll come to that story later on. We say Sudan, the military has placed the civilian leader under house arrest, and they have announced and declared national state of emergency. They've declared national state of emergency over the last 30 minutes. That now they're in control. The government has been dissolved. Offices of the prime minister urged protesters to take to the streets. So protesters, you know, these were the military who came in. The protesters held them, but we are being told now that look, the protesters have turned themselves against the justification of Sudan coup, mind-boggling. Analysts. So basically, the world is concerned. Justification of Sudan coup, mind-boggling. German called for immediate end to Sudan coup. That's why the Germans are saying. UN says detention of Sudan civilian leader unacceptable. So calls are coming. Listen, let's take this quick music break, and we will look into that. US voices grave concern over Sudan appeasal. Before we enter Africa proper, let's go to our Zongo man who says what they call it. the problem of Africa is the elites. The problem of Africa is the elites. But this one said, okay, let's go for that, and we'll be right back.
The problem of Africa is the lead. Who run things, who run things, who run things. The problem of Africa is the lead. Who run things, who run things, who run things. Them all go to universities. Universities award them degrees. Big degrees. 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 Big degrees. MSc in stealing. Bachelor of Arts, mismanagement. Another degree. Masters in looting. MSc in corruption. Bachelor of Science, nepotism. MSc in forgery. Another degree. Bachelor of Arts in discipline. MSc in embezzlement. The problem of Africa is the lead. Who run things, who run things, who run things. The problem of Africa is the lead. Who run things, who run things, who run things. Some of them went to London, London School of Fools, where they were awarded degrees, degrees in foolishness, PhD in stupidity, MSc in foolishness, PhD in dishonesty, PhD in recklessness, Bachelor of Arts in selfishness, MSc in greed, BSc maladministration, PhD in quasi-attempt, PhD pull him down, MSc in kill your donkey. The problem of Africa is the lead. Who run things, who run things, who run things. The problem of Africa is the lead. Who run things, who run things, who run things. Kwame Nkrumah, when he stood in Independence Square, declared that the African is capable of managing his own affairs. That the African is capable of managing his own affairs. We have let Nkrumah down badly, disgraced him in the eyes of the world. Kwame Nkrumah should have said that the African is capable of mismanaging Just jam those hands together for Jesus because he's lifted high already. Hallelujah.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Nine, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back for that extensive break. We needed to sort something out quickly behind the scenes. But we're back. We'll continue with the program. We should be bringing the program to a close at exactly 1 o'clock. Our lines, if you'd like to join us, is 0208 1 3322 57 or 58. That is if you're calling from outside the United Kingdom. You're gonna add 0044 to that. You're gonna add 0044 to that. Now let's proceed with our program. Let's proceed with our news headlines. Right, we're still on the Sudan. The Office of Sudan PM urges protesters to take to the streets, which we actually are seeing happening now. Civilian council members call coup political foolishness. Sudan Civilian Sovereign Council member Mohammed Hassan said on his official Facebook page that the Monday's apparent military coup was political foolishness and that he will resist it until the last drop of blood. That's what they are saying. So we can say protesters all over who are actually resisting, women alike, are all taken to the office of the Sudan Prime Minister, called on protesters, and they've responded. To what is ongoing. Right, what is the military giving as an excuse for this intervention? I think it's a bit of a problem.